Time to call out another hypocrite. This is the Birdman exposing the grift, but Ripley from Alien. Now, but Ripley from Alien is what? A defense men use against the accusation of sexism. And yet, this guy here is going to try to deflect to racism, which makes him no different than the guys he is critiquing. Okay? By the way, thank you, Ballsack, for bringing this guy up. Now, let's hear what he has to say.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is bullshit. This is one of the many nonsensical deflections made by people like this to distract you from the fact that they're too pussy to admit they're racist. Which is strange given Twitter now allows racism of all kinds.
Again, Birdman, why are you talking about racism when in your title you're virtue signaling to women that this is about sexism and you're on their side? Do you see the issue I have there?
Perhaps this parrot is under some sort of illusion that they will amount to anything more than a troll on the internet and is afraid for his future prospects. Perhaps that's why he's committed to the grift and is trying to build
future prospects. Are you suggesting this guy is an incel? You're calling him an incel? Well, that's not very progressive of you to suggest that men have to build up status to get the girl. That's weird. That's very sexist of you to say.
Build a following with it, which is one of the easiest things to do in 2024. But it's no coincidence that he is an acolyte of geeks and gamers, one of the laziest and hilariously bad at his job grifters in this space. This is a new series, one that I've been meaning to make for a long time.
I'm glad you brought this up. Geeks and Gamers is popular, and he's bad at his job. So why is he popular? For the same reason you have almost 250,000 subs. He tells people what they want to hear. He tells guys what they want to hear. And you tell guys and women what they want to hear. That's why you're popular.
Long time. Grifters have overrun internet media discourse, and their parrots are only growing in numbers, spreading bad terminology and false narratives. Maybe it's my limited perception, but it seems like no one has the balls or the ability to stand up to this nonsense, so I guess it's going to have to be me. So let's start with this parrot and his stupid-ass tweet. And you're probably wondering why I keep saying the word parrot. It might be somewhat intuitive, but it's a term I'm coining to specifically refer to people that parrot grifter talking points, which is what this video is about. You know, those that use the word woke, complain about diversity, and use deflections like the one.
I'm glad you brought this up. You're actually right about this. Woke is just a shield term for feminist. Because these right-wing guys don't want to fight with women. That's why they use woke, right? And DEI, I'm glad you brought that up because here is the forces female. What do you see in there, Birdman? Where's all the diversity and inclusion? All white women. Do you see anyone in there that resembles you? So Disney is not about diversity or inclusion. And you seem to be all right with that. So as long as the racists are women, I guess it's okay.
One I'm about to debunk. Like a parrot, these people do not have original thoughts and simply repeat what they heard someone smarter say, and cannot formulate original speech as they don't actually understand what it is they're saying.
Everything you're accusing them of, I can accuse you of. I can say about you.
That's why they're parrots. And as an aside, I don't know this dude. I first became aware of their existence today, and after a bit of research, I can confirm that he is, of course, a parrot. But again, this video isn't really about him specifically, but about a deflection commonly used by parrots. So on to the stupidity that is this tweet. As I mentioned on Twitter, this is nothing more than the same deflection they use when people accuse them of being sexist.
There you go. Accuse them about being sexist. So this is really about the misandry that's in the current society. Guys always happen to fight off this accusation of sexism, which you do too, because you're a guy. And then you're bringing it on to race. Oh, by the way, before we go any further, guys, I want you to look at his icon. Birdman. Is that not the Spider-Man? Is that not the Peter Parker Spider-Man icon? Not the Michael Morales, because this guy's going to talk about Michael Morales later on. And this doesn't look like him. It looks like the Peter Parker Spider-Man. I want you guys to note that.
We'll constantly hear about Ripley from Alien or Sarah Connor from Terminator 2. And specifically Terminator 2, because had they actually watched the first Terminator, they'd know Sarah was a damsel in distress in that first movie.
Yeah, so that's sexism. So reality is sexist, right? Like Sarah Connor, that character betrayed the average woman of her time, a woman who lives in a safe, easy environment. Isn't this an accurate portrayal? Like in real life, when some catastrophe happens, what are the Sarah Connors doing of the real world? They're running away. It's the men have to deal with it. And you know yourself, this is a male fantasy because men know they have to achieve something to get the girl. That's why the male has to be the hero.
But I suppose that's okay, because a white man was the hero in that film. These people...
There you go, the white man, right? So you bring up sexism that's supposedly inherent in men, and you switch it to race. So you see, dude, this is about you finding another group of men to bash on, to virtue signal to women out there. How are you not a parrot?
People know damn well had the exact same Terminator 2 come out in 2024, they'd call Sarah in that film woke too. You know, because badass women always means the missing.
You are aware that we did love Sarah Connor back then. I'm an old man. I was a young guy when this stuff was going on. And so for men to change their minds means something has changed. And what happened is that the misandry has gotten so severe, men are no longer willing to watch stuff like this. And by the way, Sarah Connor in that movie had a feminist rant blaming men. And know what happened? Her son told her to shut up. So that movie from the 90s was far, far more progressive than this oppressive era that we live in now, oppressive for men.
Similarly, if these two characters were created today, they would also be subject to racial epithets and harassment over their inclusion. Because of course they would. And they were. These are Billy D's own words.
Nearly everywhere I went, fans harangued me for portraying Han Solo. I got dirty looks on airplanes. How?
Yeah, I don't need to play any of this. You know why? Because my point is, he's talking about what? Ripley from Alien, right? Sigourney Weaver does not have a similar rant that Billy D. Williams is. She does not have a rant saying how she was treated with sexism at that time. Why? Because it didn't exist. That's why. Billy D. Williams is a man. That's why he's suffering it. Racism, Birdman, is just another form of misandry. And that's why Billy D. went through what he did and Sigourney Weaver didn't. So stop your virtue signaling. Now we'll get past that.
Staying in this same universe, John Boyega documented his experience with these people before The Force Awakens even released.
And so much racism thrown at her.
I saw that.
But Disney was there. They had a plan. And it seemed like, oh, Disney learned along the way to have a plan for these sort of things to happen.
Yeah.
When it happened to you, I don't think there was a game plan. I don't think they saw it.
Yeah. Disney had a game plan for her, whoever they're talking about, but not for you, male person. That's right. You see? Because Disney is sexist. Where is it here? Disney is sexist and racist. And of course, you're acting like they aren't. Now, I'm glad you brought up John Boyega here, because I guess John Boyega got himself in trouble because he talked about how he would like to bang Ray. He would like to see his character of Finn bang Ray. And that got him in trouble, right? Let's see if I can find it here. Here it is. Quote, a fan's suggestion that the death of Adam Driver's Kylo Ren after he kissed Rey in The Rise of Skywalker could create a romantic opportunity for Finn prompted Boyega to respond. It's not about who she kisses, but who eventually lays pipe. So all he's doing here is saying how much he would like to bang a pretty white woman. And he got in trouble for that, Birdman. Don't you think this guy should have had everyone on his side saying that's regressive and that's racist? No, people actually sided against him. Even as men of his own race, no doubt. Right? And let me tell you something else, too. Where is it here? Oh, yeah. Down here, someone even pointed out 1 year ago, John Boyega woke up and chose violence. Watching him roast that god-awful parent, they're talking about Kylo and Rey, and its insufferable supporters was satisfying as fuck. It's especially dark in hindsight now that we know Finn's relationship with Rey got cut out because of reasons. Who do you think cut him out? All the white girls who didn't want to see a black man with her. That's who, right? And then she was pushed to be with the privileged, genocidal white guy instead. Yeah. White women wanted to see Rey with the handsome, white, genocidal male, the bad boy. Women were turned on by the bad boy. They didn't want to see them with low status black man. Think about that.
Hey,
Coming.
man, that's how it goes, man.
So, do you have any problems with this guy's scenes being cut? You aren't mentioning it in your video here. Right. Get past that too.
Lying about his experience too, because according to the fools under this tweet, most people love John's inclusion in episode 7, right? Because the person that actually went through that experience knows less than random Twitter trolls that have a vested interest in proving they're not racist, and that anyone that criticizes these films before they even release aren't racist either.
Well, one thing's for sure, no black men want to be Finn. No black men want to be the guy who was dumped by the pretty white girl to be shacked up with an ugly woman who disrespected him. Right.
But then these people are simply refuted by King Grift himself with tweets like these. I want you to take a hard look at this photograph and then look at the tweet. The cynical grifter has not seen this movie. No one has. And yet he's already made up his mind that this is a problem.
Yeah. You know why? Because if a KKK showed up at your town and decided to put on a play, you wouldn't go. You would have automatically made up your mind because it's the KKK and you know what motivates them. And so feminists who hate men make a product. We men, with at least us, those of us with self-respect, know not to go there because we know what the heart of it is. We know what's motivating it.
Because otherwise, there's no point to this tweet. If he's not saying this image is an issue, then he's saying modern filmmaking isn't an issue, and we all know he doesn't believe that. So what could possibly be the problem with this photograph?
This ugly woman that no man wants to see. Everything about this woman is ugly. She's overweight. She's average looking in the face, but she's been given a hideous hairstyle and hideous clothes in addition. This is about denying men eye candy. It's misandry. It's about the male gaze, right? another parroting term, right? It's finding out what men like and purposely not giving it to us and saying, see, this is what you get. Right?
Oh, damn. It's the black woman in the foreground, isn't it?
No, well, it is, but it has nothing to do with her race. And you're a dishonest person by trying to make it about race. They could whiten this woman and she would be just as unappealing to guys. Period. Because Halle Berry, during her heyday, every man wanted to do her, including me. All us white guys were crazy over her because she's gorgeous. We want to see her on screen. And this woman is the complete opposite of that, and it's done purposely. So this is about misandry, and you're trying to make it about race to deflect. So again, you're no better than the guys you're talking about.
I mean, because if it isn't, you've got 3 other humans in the picture, each of them relatively innocuous. Unless you count the Hawaiian dude in the silly costume, because the glam rock aesthetic wasn't a thing in the past ever, and it's some
Dude, those glam rock guys got babes.
something modern filmmakers for the Minecraft
They're rock stars. Where the guy in the picture is just a nobody who women would laugh at.
movie made up in 2024, apparently. And clearly his problem can't be the straight white male protagonist or
Well, I do. I have a problem with this guy. You think I want to be this guy, this nerdy boy that I know won't get laid? No, thank you. With the ugly hairstyle.
the normal-looking white woman in the background, so clearly his issue is the fat black woman.
Yeah, the ugly woman. Now, the guys would go after this average-looking woman, but even she's not a fantasy girl, right? What was the Transformers movie? Fox. What's her name? Fox. She was gorgeous, and she was put in that film simply because she was gorgeous. Eye candy for the guys, the fantasy girl. There are no fantasy women in here.
But how does cynical Grifter not know this woman was the best person for the job? I'm not
She is the best person for the job of denying men pleasure. That's why she was chosen.
naive. I understand the answer to that question will be more euphemisms and conspiracy theories like DEI, but that's not an answer to my question.
Again, you're right. They are grifters because they use DEI. Because again, there is no DEI in Disney. It's all beautiful white women. Well, your beauty, that's neither here nor there, but they often are very pretty too, right? So you're right, that's a deflection, but it's a deflection you use as well.
I'm asking, how does he know? Why can't she be the Mace Windu and Lando Calrissian of this movie?
Because she's fat. She's out of shape. If you're going to be a warrior, you got to be in shape. That's why.
How does he know? There are many examples of these kinds of people.
Whoa, what? Look at this. Look at all the pretty faces we see right here. And none of them are dark-skinned either. Not really, not very. So why is this all right? Alien Romulus. So if it's a movie that's not specifically to gear up against poor guys, they're allowed to show all these pretty faces. None of these women are overweight. I don't even see a lot of diversity. They're very pale-skinned.
People judging something in this manner before they've even experienced that piece of media, and that's due to grifters teaching people this is how you view media. Once the parrots saw that Ubisoft was creating a game with the character Yasuke, it became the worst thing ever. When criticized for their hasty takes, the deflections flew at light speed, saying that Yasuke was replacing Japanese male characters.
Well, they were. They were. Men want the male hero to look up to, like Reese from right there. See, Reese right there. They want that guy to say, I want to be that guy because he gets the pretty girl, right? So if they take away they swap it out with a female character, that fantasy's gone. And you know that's the case.
As if these parrots and grifters actually care about this, and that this was the developers being woke again. But I'm curious, is this not a fictional series? Doesn't fiction imply that the story can be whatever whoever is creating it wants it to be? How is a story you haven't even experienced yet woke in the first place? How do you know?
Again, it's woke in the first place in the same way that the KKK shows up and puts on a production, you would call them out. You wouldn't have to see their production. And you would stick by it, Birdman. You would stick by it and you wouldn't be gaslit. You wouldn't allow yourself to be gaslit over this. You would say the KKK is doing this. I know what they're about.
He won't be the Mace Windu and Lando Calrissian of Assassin's Creed. So you want to tell me again that black characters simply existing in today's media wouldn't draw the ire of the worst people on the internet? I'm sorry, I don't believe you, because you have consistently shown us why we shouldn't. You wish that black people stay relegated to side character status, which is...
Really? Relegated to side character status. Kind of like how they did with Disney, right? Just as Finn did not become Rey's love interest. So again, since Disney's doing it, why is it not an issue now?
Which is why you're praising one of the antagonists of Episode 5 and the actor that is not playing Obi-Wan or Anakin in the prequel trilogy. But when Miles Morales is on screen, you twist yourselves into pretzels, coming up with excuse after excuse for why you refuse to call him Spider-Man.
I don't need an excuse because he isn't Spider-Man. Peter Parker's Spider-Man. Period. Know how I know he's Spider-Man? Because what I say, guys, why did I point that out earlier? You have a Peter Parker Spider-Man icon. When you were talking to these guys, you didn't use the Michael Morales because you, Birdman, don't see him as Spider-Man. So why should I?
Hiding behind lies like, we're just trolling, or they're sidelining legacy characters.
I'm not trolling. I'm telling you, you're all right. Peter Parker is Spider-Man. Michael Morales isn't.
Feeling that the script is doing everything in its power to play down Peter Parker, like it's afraid the audience will somehow start rooting for him over Miles if he's shown to be too capable and confident. The first movie portrayed him as an aging, burned-out loser who only redeems himself.
Yeah, he's saying that's something that's true, though. So you can't deny that. They have to take down Peter Parker in order to bring up Michael Morales. It's just as simple. And this is something that you only see with male characters. For example, Thor, I forget, for Mighty Thor, he put on weight and became depressed, something that the Mighty Thor would never do, but was done to take down the character, something you don't see with female characters. They don't do this to Wonder Woman or any other female characters, right? So this is misandry, obvious misandry, that you are going to try to deny. I'm not going to let you.
Himself at the end, while the second film morphs him into a bumbling, hapless father in a pink bathrobe who for some reason keeps taking his baby along on life-threatening adventures despite having a perfectly capable...
By the way, the clown emoji is cringe. This is how I know you're just like these guys. These guys who don't want to deal with the hatred women have for them use clown emojis all the time, and now you're doing it. The clown emoji is beneath me.
Capable mother at home to look after it. Is this some weird attempt to mock and belittle the Spider-Man that most...
That's a rhetorical question. It is belittling the character. That's the whole point of it. Now,
to do this to Wally West, Scott Lang, or Damian Wayne. I wonder why that is. True to form, you people don't know what the words legacy character even mean. You seem to believe this refers to the original character that held the mantle, but it actually refers to the new character that holds the mantle.
hold it, dude. What you don't realize is they can't screw around with the main characters. They can do it with tertiary characters. Characters that lack popularity, they could do whatever they like. That's why Nick Fury became a black man and no one batted an eye. Because there's no hardcore Nick Fury fans to say, no, Nick Fury is a white guy. Nobody cared because he's a tertiary character. Robin's the same way. He's just a side piece of Batman. There's all kinds of Batman content out there where Robin isn't even there. So of course the Robin character changes a lot. But they don't screw with Batman or Superman. They tried to make a black Superman. It failed. Because it's not them.
Miles Morales is a legacy character. Because that's what those words mean. And speaking of what words mean, I seriously tire of you people using...
Yeah, but he's not Spider-Man. That's why you don't have him as your avatar.
...the word woke. Woke does not mean diversity and people that promote diversity. Woke is Black American slang.
I agree. It's feminism. And these cowards, just like you, are too afraid to say it because they know to start going after feminists, they're going after women. They have to admit there's a war women have on men. So they use the word woke. I agree. So let's get past that. Don't need your gibberish over that.
Congratulations, you played yourselves. And I can see the parrots getting ready to type words to the effect of, well, words change and can mean different things. Interestingly, these are the same people that don't...
Like incel. Incel changed. It used to be just a guy who could get laid, but it's an insult to any man who doesn't know his own place, right? If you see something, if you see misandry and you talk against it, they'll call you an incel. So it just means you don't know your place. It did change.
Don't want the word woman to refer to trans women and say that words like cis don't mean anything. And look, I'm not a trans activist, so this is not my fight, but it is a bit of amusing cognitive dissonance, wouldn't you say? So, Parrot.
Not really. These guys are woman worshippers just like you. If a bunch of TERFs came and showed up in your space, you being a male feminist, would embrace them and say, you're right. Trans women aren't women.
Let's stop with the deflections. You're not fooling anyone with the internet version of, but I have...
Yeah. Let's stop with the deflections. Let's look at, but Ripley is an alien, sexism, and converting over to racism. Let's stop with the deflections. As you can see, this guy is just the pot calling the kettle black. You, Birdman, are a complete hypocrite. And I just called you out. Goodbye.